Yes, sir. Yes. Happy Make Your Move Monday. Happy Make Your Move Monday, folks. Let's get it going. Let's have a great week. First one of August. Let's get established. Let's start it off right and continue to get better. Let's get it shared out for my Facebook peeps real quick, and then we'll get to go and we'll get it going. Get better. Mic check. Share it out for my Facebook. Peeps real. We're good. We're shared. We're ready to roll. All right. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Whatever time of day you are consuming this or that you may be consuming this. Welcome to the number one platform on innovative teamwork, where we redefine. This is what we do around here. We're going to discuss this a little bit later on when we get into the topic today. Consistency is the main ingredient. Consistency is the main ingredient in terms of what we're all about. And by the fact, while I'm saying that, forgive me, folks. I'm still on cup of coffee number one. So the caffeine is rolling. I'm getting myself together. We're doing what we need to do to get better. All right, so let me make a real quick introduction to anybody that's new to me, new to the channel, new to what we're all about around here. My name is Aswan Crookshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, soon to be 6-time published author and educator. I created this whole brand, this whole framework, this whole concept, this whole mindset, this whole philosophy, this whole movement that's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and applying them to businesses and business owners, so they have a group of employees, a staff that moves as efficiently as a championship high school or youth football team. That is what we do over here in a nutshell, straight up and down. We take that mindset, we translate that mindset to make it so your business has that passion, that cohesion, those groups of people that show up and do what they have to do to get better. They make themselves better to make the organization better. They take initiative. They may learn some lines. They do what they have to do. Whatever gets done, you know that the mindset is about how do we get better as an organization. You want a staff filled with them. You know, one of my greatest things I learned when I played is when a coach used to tell us all the time, look, I can slow you down, but I can't speed you up. In the business world, the way that it translates is, look, I can corral you. I can make it so you may take the initiative and do something that's out of bounds. And I can live with you trying harder, trying your best to, make the organization better. And I could just tell you the rules and say, hey, you got to do it this way, got to do that way, but I can't speed you up. I can't make you give a shit. Basically, I can't make you give a shit. I can't make you passionate. I can't make you somebody that actually wants to get better and shows up and does the things on your off time and does what he or she has to do to get better, even though you may not be on the clock or whatever it is. I can't speed you up. I can slow you down. I can give you the rules, the regulations, the procedures, the policies, all those things I can do, but I can't speed you up. I can't want it for you. I can't grind it for it. You gotta have it. You want a staff full of people like that, again, you get to get at me. We'll talk about it and we'll discuss that. So all that being said, today we are breaking out a new topic. It's Monday, Make Your Move Monday. As you can see right here, I put it right there in the screen. We're talking about what is a role model. The Make Your Move Monday kickoff question this week is, what is a role model? And the theme throughout the entire week is breaking down what exactly a role model is. And in many ways, it gets used in this positive, with a positive tone, but role models can be negative as well. We want to make sure we're putting the right role models around us. Also, throughout this entire week, we're going to be discussing how to create role models and how to make it so certain, just because somebody has fame and somebody has fortune, somebody has a lot of things going on that they're noted for, we're not just going to paint them as role models because of fame. We're going to make sure it's all about actions and actions and actions and actions and actions. So we're going to be breaking all that down this week. Before we do, however, let's get through some announcements. We got a couple new ones coming up. Excuse me. Got a couple new ones now. Hold on. Let me put the first one up. The first one up is business owners as the eye. as I expressed in the intro, and I express in every single intro, every single morning, is free guide. If you have not yet, make sure you go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. That is freeguide.makeyourmove.com. As I mentioned, we're here as the Move Swiftly platform to serve you, to make it so you have a staff that is developing, constantly getting better, constantly making it so they are doing what they have to do. And we work from a very simple to understand formula here. It's number one, establishing measurables plus creating a professional distance, and that leading to a productive environment. Hear me very clearly. You're not going to get a productive environment without those two things. It's the measurables, the professional distance, and then the productive environment comes. So if you're interested in that, all you got to do is click the button that you see right there on the screen, and you will be sent over a 10-step process on how to start to get the ball rolling in terms of what it is you do and how it is you do it. All right. And next thing, boxing lessons, free boxing lessons. If you are interested in free, you heard me correctly, free boxing lessons, particularly for my folks out in West Palm Beach. This is what we do every 2 weeks. We do it bi-weekly. If you are interested in doing it throughout the week, excuse me, let me just get my last couple sips of caffeine here. If you are interested in doing it throughout the week, those are the times from 6 to 9. Just simply click one of the links, or click the button that you see on the screen, submit your contact information, and I will be in touch to get something scheduled. Next thing. Oh, yes. So officially starting a new, actually, you know what? I'll make that the last one. All right, I'll do it now. All right. Officially starting a new role here at the Center for Creative Education. I am now the Sport and Fitness Director. And because it's a brand new role, and because as a community, the Palm Beach, South Florida community, it's really, I moved out here. Like, I moved out to South Florida because of the fitness community and the football community. So right now, because it's still brand new, all I'm looking for really is for you to join the email list if you are interested in engaging young children in movement, mindset, motivation to create things that improve behavior, improve school culture, all those kinds of things. Again, if I'm speaking your language, work from very far. I created these 4 pillars yesterday, so bear with me. All right, this was just coming off the cuff. So yesterday, I created the 4 pillars of what this program is going to look like. Call it the 4 Fs. It's going to be fitness, fun, family, fundraising. All right, how it's going to come together, how those things are going to look, and all that. It's going to kind of be based on you as a parent and what you want best for your child. So just simply join the email list, join what we're all about, and we'll kind of get you the right information. There's still kinks and still things I need to be learning in regards to the fundraising aspect of it, because that's not normally my side. But I know, from the business that I come from the world I come from, fundraising is the core of what it is we have to do, and everybody has to be on board when it comes to the fundraising. You don't get to just duck away from fundraising. All right, that's sales. You have to engage in if you do actually like getting the check. So it's important that everybody engages in it in some kind of way. So again, that's a conversation. I'll probably do that. It's probably a topic I'll have to broach another week just to bring it all home. And finally, not this. We're starting. All right. I'm starting the promo, officially starting the promo. If you are a college football fan, and you love you love the idea of watching the game and getting a full breakdown of the game, and you like being around a great atmosphere, join the weekly scenario. All right. The weekly scenario. What has happened is I found a location. All right. I found a location to do a live college football show every Saturday. We're going to be starting on the 31st with the Ohio State and Texas game. It's going to be at Duffy's right here in North Palm Beach. And throughout the week, you can sign up for what I'm calling a weekly scenario. Whatever the hot topic is that week, or whatever the question is going to be that week, you'll have an opportunity to discuss it. We'll discuss it live. And again, talking college football throughout the time. And again, my superpowers, one of the things that I do is I translate those lessons from the football field to your business. So if you're a business owner and you're a college football fanatic, you're going to want to tune into this, because even though it may be a leisure activity, you watching the game, you're going to be getting a lot of lessons in terms of how to run your business, some of the things that you're going to be going through, some of the challenges that you're going to be going through. It is a lot to be learned, And the weekly scenario is going to kind of speak to those things. All right. And finally, yeah, we got a couple this week. As football season is coming up, trust me, I'm going to get better at making these announcements, because we got a few. I got to work. I put in some time on this yesterday, because there was a lot of things that was happening that I wanted to make sure I put out there to promote. So anyway, if you like some of our favorite people around here, and you like bump all that free stuff, and you want to you want to just say, hey man, show me who I got to pay, where I got to pay, and you want to pay for something, simply go to makeyourmove.com. That's makeymove.com. Hit the shop now button, and you will see where you can get books. You can get me out to do an employee development workshop, boxing lessons. All of that is available on makeyourmove.com/shop. And you can do your research on me. Again, turn your business into a championship team. It is common knowledge that the best way to win in business or in life is by avoiding ways to lose. Whether you've just started a new business or you've been in business for quite some time, there's no getting around the need to hire or outsource certain elements of your organization so things can run as efficiently as possible. When you book your meeting with Aswan, he'll diagnose what the issues are with your current system, and then strategically create a system in which will lead to a reduced amount of turnover or a clear understanding of the parts of your business that need to be outsourced. Woo! All right, yeah, I got to get better at those, man. I got to get better at making those. There's a couple new ones now, so I got to get better at making those announcements. And again, these are the things that I'm talking about. These are the things that I like to promote on. This is the stuff that makes this channel so great and so important for you to, again, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that. It's because you see me getting better in real time. You see the fact that, hey, I started doing this, and I can guarantee, this is something I'm guaranteeing, is by next Monday or the couple of weeks from now, as I'm making those announcements, you're going to hear a whole lot more crisp, going to hear me say it in a whole lot more of an efficient way, because I've gotten better. I literally just made those two landing pages yesterday, and they're not fully developed yet, but they're good enough to get out and kind of get the information out. If you don't work on your shit before, you're never going to get better. You got to get live, you got to get direct, and you got to get out there and fail. Get out there and fail forward. Get out there, try something new. Again, fail at it. It's not going to work, and then go and get better again. That's the way it works. That's the way life works, okay? You cannot expect to be perfect every single day, but if you're not out live, in action, doing what you have to do to get better, then you can't expect any positive results. All right. So all that being said, before I get on my soapbox, let's get into today's article. Make Your Move Monday. What is a role model? What is a role model? Again, a term that gets used in ways that can be very confusing, because when you're talking about role models, too often do we look at it as only something positive. There are tons of negative role models out there. There's tons of people out there who are doing things that are going to have a negative effect on the younger generation. So we're going to break down exactly what both the words mean. Role model. All right, let's dive right into it. So before I dive into it, I got to break down the image. It's crazy to think that this image was taken a whole year ago. It was in Trinidad. I was at a family reunion, and apparently the MC, so the MC, whoever we scheduled to have the MC to be the MC for the dinner at the family reunion, he couldn't show up. So your one and only Move Swift, but your one and only Move Swiftly speaker had to step in and say, "Man, give me the mic and let me do my thing." So that's a picture of me. It's me holding the mic, And the soca artist, Marshall Montano, it just happened to be his dad. So his dad owns the resort in Toco. And it's me talking to Marshall Montano's dad. That's my dad there, by the way, it's going to be his birthday tomorrow. And then that's my nephew and my nephew and godson. Yeah, my nephew right there looking at us. And the reason that the image hits such a different chord because of all of the elements going on around it. I didn't expect, I was there vacation. I was there not expecting to have to do much. It doesn't feel like work per se, but I was there just trying to enjoy myself because I speak literally every day. I'm on camera every single day speaking. I didn't expect to have to do it at a family reunion. But again, because I was ready, because I was prepared, because, hey, the time came for me to step up and do my thing. Hey, I stepped up and did my thing, and we had a great time. So that image is very, very special to me, seeing it, how everything turned out. So let's get into the article before I make this too long. By the way, we usually keep these at around 35 minutes. So here we go. Welcome to another week here on the Move Swiftly platform, where among the many things we do is redefine the word consistency. Say it again for the people in the back. I said we redefine the word consistency. 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 Consistency is what we're all about here, all right? If you're a business owner, educator, parent, athlete, creator, or anyone building something meaningful, then bookmark this page, subscribe to the channel, and settle in. This platform wasn't built to go viral. It was built to last. Say it again for the people in the back. Wasn't built. Hear me go. Hear me, hear me, hear me, hear me, hear me, hear me. Loud and clear. It was not built to go viral. It was built to last. There's a difference. There's things that can go viral and everyone's excited and everyone's talking about it versus something that's built to last, an actual platform, a foundation, has some concrete at the bottom, a house built on a foundation, a solid foundation, okay? So, built to last. Around here, we start every week with what I call the kickoff question. Just like a football game, it sets the tone. It gets us moving swiftly, all right? This week's kickoff question, what is a role model, all right? Let me say it again, just in case you guys didn't hear, for the people all the way in the back. What is a role model? What is a role model? All right. It may sound simple, but trust me, it's not. Let me just give you some backstory on how I came up with this. The spark behind this question. The idea hit me after hearing a gem dropped by none other than Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. Back when he was still at Jackson State, he was a guest on the I Am Athlete podcast. And towards the end of the episode, he said something that stuck with me. He said, see, we got to be, I'm going to do my Coach Prime impression. I'm not Lou Young, but I'm going to do my best to do Coach Prime impression. He goes, you see, the problem is we got to be careful about who we call in a role model because we got a lot of models playing roles. And that's the way he said it. Now, I looked, trust me, I looked before I jumped on this, before I decided to write the article. I looked, and it seems that the entire episode is gone. It's no longer available for the public. I know there was a lot going on with the I Am Athlete podcast and the Pivot podcast and, Prime Time. And now there's probably a lot of legalities that are going into that. But in saying that, though, it really doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter the fact that I can't even go and look up the show anymore because what he said when he speaks, the reason Coach Prime has such a huge platform and why people enjoy, like I used to say it all the time last year, regardless of how Colorado does on the field, Coach Prime is undefeated in his interviews. So a lot of you Prime sexuals out there didn't necessarily like it because you guys looked at it as taking a shot at him or whatever. But he's definitely undefeated in his interviews. His interviews are undefeated. His little one-liners and his gems that he drops, those are absolutely undefeated. They're great. So again, this was the I Am Athlete podcast a couple years ago. And he goes, we got to be careful about who we call a role model because we got a lot of models playing roles. And when you break down the statement, we got a lot of models playing roles. A lot of people who look and talk and act and pretend that they're somebody positive, so they play a role and they give them some job and they give them some title and they give them some whatever it is they're going to get. for a check, and they're playing a role. But you can clearly see the minute they open their mouth, I'm talking about the second they open their mouth or they write an email, whatever, you can see that they're not fit for the actual role they've been given. They're not fit for it. There's a lot of people like that. There's a ton of people like that. Let's trust me. I've been around the block in terms of business, been around the block in terms of what I've seen from people who are just in positions that first of all, they don't even want to be in this position, but they're in the position because the salary or the money's right, and they're kind of in a comfortable place, or they're chasing this comforting check or this comforting salary, and then they're trying their best to fit into a role that they're not built for. All right. So that ultimately what ends up happening is to protect themselves. All you see is a bunch of finger pointing, as opposed to actually looking at themselves and saying, hey, I messed up. I got to do a better job. I got to start to look at myself as a positive role model and exemplify some positive behavior and say, hey, when people look at me and they see how I operate, and they see how I move, and they see the way I approach difficult conversations and difficult challenges and things in life, I'm going to approach it with a level of integrity and a level of character that will be able to model what the young people need to be doing. That's what has to happen. All right. And when he makes the statement, or kind of the play on words here, where he's talking about, we got to be careful about who we call a role model, because we got a lot of models playing roles. That's what he means. That stuff applies across the board. Hear me. It applies across the board. It applies to a lot of different things and a lot of different situations, to the point where I would probably be on here 2 or 3 hours breaking down every single situation that applies. But again, if you want to hear more about that, employee development, makeyourmove.com, I got you. All right. So back to the article, folks. I know I went on a little tangent there. But the line just hits me, and it's so crazy how the show is no longer available for people to listen to, but it still hits me years later about how we made that slight change in language, right? That slight change in language is great. So unfortunately, that episode has since disappeared from the internet, but the one-liner remains one of the realest takes I've heard on the topic. Let's break this down. Definitions we don't talk enough about. Let's zoom in on the actual definitions. Role, all right, role. I'm reading directly from the article, folks, all right? Role, a character assigned or assumed. Model, a usually miniature representation of something. Nothing in those two definitions say anything about positive or negative. All right, let's break it down one more time. A role, when you define the word role, it reads as a character assigned or assumed. A character. Let's break down the word character for one quick second. So we're all on the same page. Character definition. The mental or moral qualities distinctive to an individual. The mental or qualities distinctive to an individual. That's the word character. That's what it means. All right. So when you look at the word role, a character assigned or assumed. Model, a usually miniature representation of something. So a model, you could look at let's say, so my dad, he's an architect, and he would build these models of buildings. He would have a huge building, but there'd be like a mock-up, like a model of the building. That's what a model is. It's just a smaller version, a smaller representation of something bigger. All right. So when you take those two definitions, there's a lot of interchange. There's a lot of moving parts coming along, and there needs to be solid foundations, solid fundamental foundations in terms of how we define it. Role, character, what's inside you, what's the things that you value, how much do you really put your heart and soul into things, what's your levels of integrity, how much do you really give a shit, how much do you really care? Genuinely, how much do you care in your quiet time, when you're by yourself in your mirror and you're alone in wherever you're going to be? What is it that comes out of you during those moments? Okay, that's what character is all about. Now, the model eventually, again, because we're talking now kind of metaphorically here, the model is, all right, I see that person, this is what this person's all about. This is what this person values. This person is seeing or doing in their quiet time, and all of that stuff shines. When you're around a person for a long enough time, you start to see, hey, what kind of things are they modeling? What kinds of character traits do they portray? What exactly are they about? All right, what exactly are they about? What do they value? That's what those two terms mean. And again, we got to be really, really detailed in terms of what we see about people, what we're seeing in people. And is it something that's constantly happening? Is the pattern? Is it something that we're always having to deal with because they don't want to work on their own shit? And you know people like that. You know people like that who, no matter what you tell them, no matter how often you explain this to them, logically you break stuff down to them, they will not change. Because it's inside of them. It's something that's already patterned inside of them that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you do. You at some point, you got to let certain folks go because you're not going to progress. That's what we're getting at here. We're going to get to that in a second. So let that sit in. A role is a character. A model is a replica. No wonder folks get confused about what this really means in real life. This is the definition. Listen. And I'm going to answer the question in a second, but I want to make sure I address that last statement in the article, folks. This is the reason we have so much confusion in this world, folks. We have so much confusion, especially the world I come from, the football world and the sports world that I come from. You are talking about athletes who I love. I mean, listen, the NBA, NFL, guys that have gone on and have done some incredible things athletically, absolutely hit the genetic lottery, and they are blessed athletically. But when you start calling them role models, when you start seeing the way, again, a kid like myself who looked up to these, and we're going to talk about that throughout the week, but when you start seeing the way kids look up to these professional athletes and stuff like that, there needs to be something in place that, or some person in place, people in place. Again, myself, I was very blessed and very fortunate to have the father that I had growing up and kind of be that person in between the professional athlete and the kid who had these dreams of becoming a professional athlete, to be that man that said, hey, certain things are right, certain principles, certain character traits, you got to make sure you are implemented. You got to make sure you have certain character traits twice in a row. Sorry about that, guys. The Wi-Fi, that's Wi-Fi is doing things to me, man. Like I did Friday, and hopefully they get this thing fixed. But yeah, like I said, I was blessed enough to be in a situation where my father was able to teach me, hey, character traits and certain levels of integrity and all that kind of stuff. Definition on what a role model is. My definition, again, directly from the article now. A role model is someone who is accepted that they play an important role in society and that they will be watched, followed, or studied, whether they like it or not. And here's the kicker. That definition doesn't apply to celebrities only. It applies to you reading this right now. Yes, you. This is what I wanted to get at. This was why I was so excited to give this topic and talk about this throughout the week. A role model is someone who has accepted that they play an important role in society and that they will be watched, followed, or studied, whether they like it or not. And here's the kicker. That definition doesn't apply to celebrities only. It applies to you reading this right now. Yes, you. Why that matters? Why does this matter? Why does it matter? Why am I getting so fired up? And why am I getting so passionate when I'm explaining to you, when I'm emphasizing to you for the fact that a role model is not about celebrity. The definition of what a role model is not simply about what a celebrity does. It also applies to you. It's you. It's your job. It's you listening to me right now. It's you reading this right now. You have to understand a role model has very, very little to do with fame. Very little to do with fame, right? So why that matters. I say this with force and intention. The phrase, you're a role model, gets thrown around so casually, we forget that there are good role models and bad ones. That adjective matters. Coach Prime nailed it. There are plenty of models out there playing roles, and when you follow them, they'll lead you into confusion, chaos, or even worse, self-destruction. Man, let me say that thing. Let me say that. You better talk that. You better talk it. Talk it as one. Come on. Okay. Coach Prime nailed it. There are plenty of models out here just playing roles. When you follow them, they'll lead you into confusion, chaos, even worse, self-destruction. There's a lot of folks out there calling themselves fathers, calling themselves mothers, calling themselves over the brother, calling themselves educators, calling themselves coaches, calling themselves you name it, calling themselves a lot of these things, but their whole aura is leading to confusion, and then it leads to self-destruction amongst the people who are following them. That's the issue. All right. This week, and let me just break that. I got about 5 minutes here. Let me break down what we're going to be digging into this week, guys. So this week, we're digging into the difference. We're going to explore what it means to choose the right people to follow, accept your own leadership and influence, and recognize when you're watching someone, when you're watching someone play a part instead of living their purpose. All right. Break it down again, nice and slow, because that might have been a little confusion. We're choosing the right people to follow. First and foremost, we're accepting our own leadership, all right? Our own personal leadership and influence and what we have to do, because we are role models as well. That as long as you're here and you're breathing, you're able to listen to what I'm saying right now, that makes you a role model. And you eventually are going to have people looking up to you or following you. Maybe they're not looking up to you. They're looking at you and they're trying to figure out, they're trying to gauge what you're about. They're trying to gauge to see if you're somebody that they want in their life for the long term, the short term. However it gets done, they're going to be developing judgments and developing an opinion on you. And you got to show, you can't just turn it on and off. Another lesson from the football field is that every coach, just remain consistent amongst every single coach I've ever had, as they say, you can't just turn it on and off on game days. All right. You have to practice the same way you're going to be performing in the game. Heard it said often, hey, the game's the fun part, but it's the same thing in life. You can't just, meet this person who's quote unquote important, and now all of a sudden I'm going to act like I'm really I'm going to act like I'm a little more intelligent. I'm going to act like I know this one, know that one. And then, the rest of the time you're out there, you're just being who you normally are and acting like a jackass. You can't do that. You have to start developing this mentality to where you're like this all the time. You guys hear me say it on the show all the time. You can talk to me directly. You can talk to me right here on camera, or you can have a conversation with me directly. It's going to be the same thing. Anybody that has watched this show for a significant amount of time, you're probably going to feel like you know Aswan very well, and we've never even met in person, because, again, this is the way I normally am. This is the way I am all day, 24 hours a day. Okay, this is the way I am. This is the way I operate. This is the mentality. And it takes work to develop this kind of mentality when you understand you are a role model. All right. So choosing the right people to follow, your own leadership and influence, and recognize when you're watching someone play a part instead of living their purpose. This one's big, because you're going to get to a point. Where you got to start evaluating. You got to take some self-inventory in your own damn life and say, is this person making me better, or is this person holding me back? And eventually there's going to be a lot of people that you care very deeply about that you have to really admit and say, this person's holding me back. I got to get rid of them. I got to stop bringing them stuff. I got to move the fuck on. Because I got bigger things that I want to be doing. So final thought, stay with me this week. Every day this week, we'll go deeper. Tomorrow, Top 5 Tuesday, top 5 ways to pick a real role model. Wednesday, Wintrepreneur Wednesday. Not all role models are famous, because being a Wintrepreneur isn't just about building a business. It's about being someone others want to follow without the blue check. Subscribe, read, share, show up, because whether you like it or not, you've got people watching. So the real question is, are you a role model? It's what, The real question is, I get excited. I get excited as I had to finish out the article. So anyway, the real question isn't, are you a role model? It's, what kind of role model are you? That's really the actual question today. So I flipped it up a little bit for you guys. So I brought a simple, what sounded like a simple question, but I gave you the answer because the reality is you are a role model. But then the bigger question, the macro part of the question is, what kind of role model are you? Because again, got news for you. If you didn't know before, now I'm telling you now, you are a role model. Now the question becomes, what kind of role model are you? All right. So again, all that being said, if you are interested in developing and you want a staff that has the same energy that you saw today, you want a staff that's bringing it, that has this mentality that they're going to take the initiative and do what they got to do. Main website to check out, makeyourmove.com. That's MakeYamove.com. It is your one-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. As Juan Cruikshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.